Chosen one, fate itself nudged you to watch this now. This moment was etched on your spirit before you took breath. What if I told you that hidden forces have shaped every step to bring you here now? You have felt the pull, the weight of unseen currents steering your life. You have battled exhaustion, doubt, and noise, yet something inside kept nudging you forward. Today, we unveil the truth behind that sacred fatigue. We will show you why your weariness is a signal, not a setback. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. They never wanted you to know that your collapse is the first step to your greatest rise. Stay with us until the end to unlock the code of your divine reset. What exhaustion means in the spirit realm. Imagine drifting through a half-remembered dream where the sky unfurls in colors you've never seen, and a gentle voice whispers, "Pause here." You awaken with the taste of something ineffable on your tongue, as if you've touched a truth beyond words. That moment, caught between sleep and waking, is your soul's secret gateway. It beckons you to listen to the patterns of your days, the weight behind your steps, and the subtle summons beneath your every breath. You have felt that pull, a magnetic hush urging you to slow down. What you once brushed off as fatigue was, in fact, the first note of an ancient melody calling you home to yourself. There was a time when your days blurred into endless motion. Each sunrise met with the same relentless pace. You learned to push through the ache in your bones, to keep going when your heart whispered for stillness. In crowded rooms you felt alone, as if your skin recognized vibrations others couldn't hear. You may have noticed tears drawn by the tiniest injustice or shivered at the sudden hush before a significant moment. That sensitivity left you craving belonging, even while you sensed you were destined for something beyond the ordinary. You carried a quiet longing, a knowing that life held deeper meaning, and that this feeling set you apart. What if those restless nights, the sudden moments of overwhelm, the inexplicable turns in your story were never random? Picture a grand tapestry, each thread woven with intention by hands unseen. Your frustrations, your triumphs, and even your weariness have been part of a divine design. In the prophet Habakkuk's prayers, Habakkuk 2 verse 20, we see that the Lord dwells not in noise but in the stillness. That scripture illuminates how the spirit realm moves in silent shifts, directing your course when you step off script. Recognizing this hidden architecture transforms your story from one of chance to one of sacred purpose. Pause to remember the times your body shut down as if on cue, when you struck a breakthrough only to face an abrupt collapse. Perhaps you felt a sudden chill, an unexplained heaviness, or an inner sigh that whispered, "Not yet." These are not malfunctions but divine calibrations. Like a compass needle realigning with the Earth's magnetic field, your spirit nudges you toward your true north. Even small glimpses, fleeting visions and dreams, déjà vu so vivid it halts your day, a shiver of recognition at a random phrase, are signposts. They gently announce that you are crossing thresholds between the mundane and the miraculous. Trusting these whispers can feel fragile at first, as though you risk believing in air. Yet that inner voice has never misled you. Think back to the moment you felt tugged away from danger, or when an inspired thought led you to a chance meeting that changed everything. Your intuition is the echo of a greater mind guiding you. In Ezekiel's vision of the Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel 37, the breath of the Spirit brought lifeless forms back to motion, reminding us that the same breath stirs the chosen. As you acknowledge this gentle unfolding, you'll discover a root of safety anchoring you in every storm. With each soft awakening, you recover fragments of a deeper identity, a hidden self that remembers ancient wisdom. You are not becoming something new but rediscovering a truth buried beneath fear and doubt. Imagine excavating a buried city, unearthing spotless mosaics of your soul's design. This is the process of spiritual archaeology, where long-forgotten dreams and talents resurface. In 1 Kings, Elijah found God not in the earthquake or fire, but in the still small voice on Mount Horeb, 1 Kings 19 verse 12. Your inner landscape holds those same whispers, waiting for you to excavate and walk its hidden streets once more. Now feel the shift as you lean into your sensitivity instead of resisting it. Let the knowing that has always pulsed beneath the surface guide your next step. Each time fatigue presses you to rest, choose to honor that invitation. Rejoice in the hunger of your spirit. It is the engine of your purpose. In the letters of Hebrews, we read that those who draw near to the throne of grace will find mercy and help in time of need. Hebrews 4 verse 16. You are called to draw near, to embrace your spiritual hunger as the world's most potent fuel. This is your first activation. You are stepping into the rhythm of divine timing. You did not stumble upon this message by accident. Your eyes, your heart, your very breath have been drawn here to awaken you to a larger reality. Comment pause if you have felt this divine interruption stirring within you. Up next, we will journey deeper to discover why these sacred pauses precede the greatest rise of the chosen one. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Please add the subtitle of this section, Mid-Video CTA, Why Chosen Ones Collapse Before Rising. A flicker at the edge of your awareness, a subtle tightening in your chest whenever you dared to speak your truth, marked the first stirrings of resistance. Perhaps it was that moment in a boardroom when your bold idea was dismissed with a polite smile, or the sting of laughter when you shared a vision no one else could yet see. That discomfort was not mere coincidence, but the faint echo of forces moving to obscure your path. Even before you knew who you were becoming, something pushed back against your light. In that quiet shove against your spirit, you felt the gravity of hidden currents, as if an unseen hand sought to redirect your ascent. The truth is, those early tremors of sabotage were never random. They were the first tremors of a deeper struggle unfolding just beyond the veil. In those days, you felt the weight of invisible chains binding you to other people's expectations. You learned to swallow your insights, to bend yourself into shapes that felt false, all to avoid the sharp edge of rejection. Shame whispered that you were too much, an oracle meant to be silenced rather than heard. Behind closed doors, you wrestled with self-doubt so fierce it nearly broke you, replaying every misstep until you believed that your gifts were burdens. You felt achingly alone, convinced that no one could understand the fires burning inside you. Those cycles of doubt, like tides pulling you under, were not signs of weakness but invitations to deeper strength, reminding you that the battlefield of the chosen is both internal and external. If you look back now, you'll see that your journey followed the ancient path of trial and exile. Just as Israel wandered 40 years in the wilderness, encountering tests that forged their identity, you too were guided through seasons of testing to awaken the hero within. In that great wilderness of your own making, filled with mirages of failure and the dry sands of disillusionment, you discovered the truth of your calling. The prophet Daniel, thrown into the lion's den, found that his faith only grew stronger when the world conspired to snuff it out. Those trials were not punishments but refinement, revealing that every obstacle carried the seed of your rise. Once you begin to piece together your experiences, a pattern emerges. Friends who turned cold when you spoke of purpose, jobs that collapsed just as you found your stride, relationships that drained your essence. These were not random betrayals but orchestrated tests, designed to teach you where your loyalties truly lay. You may recall a former mentor whose advice seemed caring, yet subtly directed you away from your gifts. Or perhaps a deadline that arrived at the exact moment you were ready to publish a message that would shift hearts. In each of these moments, the light within you struggled to break free, and the walls around you trembled before aligning to usher you forward. You began to sense something more than coincidence, an energetic interference that thickened the very air you breathed. In rooms where you once felt at ease, now shadows flickered at the corners of your vision. Conversations stalled, doors closed without warning, and a fog of confusion settled around your thoughts. It was as if silent watchers circled your every move, eager to blur the clarity that burned in your mind. This spiritual resistance was neither evil nor random. It was the echo of they who feared that your rise would unmask long-held deceptions. Yet even in the fog, your inner flame glowed, stubbornly refusing to be extinguished. How did you respond when the pressure mounted? You might have retreated, seeking refuge in small comforts to soothe the ache of feeling misunderstood. Or you may have armored yourself, silencing your voice with a practiced politeness that whispered, "I will not be seen." In the most courageous moments, you rebelled quietly, switching careers, leaving relationships, or simply writing your truths in hidden journals. These responses were not signs of surrender, but the first acts of self-preservation, conscious or not, protecting the spark of your destiny until the world was ready to receive it. Then a shift occurred. The very resistance meant to suppress you became proof of your power. Each closed door, each cutting remark, laid the groundwork for your reclamation. You realized that the walls erected against you were scaffolding for your emergence. With every attempt to dim your light, you learned to fan your flame. Now you stand at the threshold of your restored voice, recalling the ancient words from Zechariah, "Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit." Zechariah 4 verse 6. This realization is your clarion call. You begin to reclaim the story they tried to rewrite, restoring your birthright as a voice that shakes foundations. You were opposed because you are powerful. The friction you encountered was evidence of your imminent transformation, carving the channels through which your purpose will flow. Comment victorious if you recognize the resistance that forged you. In the next section, we will uncover the sacred technologies of rest, sleep, isolation, and silence that accelerate your alignment and prepare you to rise anew. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Please add the subtitle of this section, Mid-Video CTA, the role of sleep, isolation, and silence in realignment. A quiet moment in the restless night can shift your whole world. You might wake with a start, your heart pounding as if it carries the weight of unseen realms. In that instant, the veil lifts just enough for you to sense the pattern beneath the chaos. Your exhaustion was never random. It was a doorway. Suddenly, weariness feels less like defeat and more like initiation, a subtle invitation to enter a deeper current of awakening. The revelation comes not with thunder, but with the soft clarity of dawn, where each beat of your pulse echoes the gentle insistence of spirit calling you home. Often, the world speaks to you in codes you barely notice. The repeating sequence of 3:33 on your clock, a phrase in a half-remembered dream, the geometry of frost on your windowpane. These are not coincidences but divine Morse code, guiding you toward realignment. Imagine ancient scribes inscribing sacred scrolls, each symbol a key to unlock hidden chambers of your soul. In the silent spaces between your breaths, these symbols coalesce into meaning. You begin to read reality as a living manuscript, where signs and symbols converge to reveal your next step on this sacred path. As you lean into rest, you'll notice that your intuition sharpens like a blade drawn from its sheath. Boundaries once porous now hold firm, preserving your energy for the journey ahead. You may find that noisy gatherings feel suffocating, while solitary walks in nature refill your spirit. Your body responds differently to environments, repelled by discord and drawn to harmony. This is not imagination but confirmation. Your inner compass has recalibrated. In those moments of heightened sensitivity, you glimpse the gentle architecture of your true self emerging from beneath the weight of everyday demands. Reality begins to mirror this inner transformation. Doors that were once shut creak open on new hinges. Invitations arrive at unexpected times. Yet alongside these gifts, resistance still circles like a tide, testing your resolve. You might be offered a chance at creative collaboration just as another opportunity abruptly dissolves. These push and pull dynamics are not punishments but the scaffolding of divine architecture, shaping a space where your purpose can take form. In the rhythms of alignment and resistance, you learn that both are necessary to carve the vessel of your destiny. Deep within you, an ancient memory stirs, a dream of standing at the edge of a vast ocean under a star-laced sky, feeling both infinite and grounded. That vision was not a fleeting fantasy, but the echo of your soul's blueprint. As rest and silence deepen, this memory returns in fragments. A melody that hums beneath your thoughts, a color that floods your vision in candlelight. feels like recalling a language you once spoke fluently. In these moments, the divine memory script scrolls through your consciousness, awakening a timeless knowing that predates your earliest life. With these awakenings comes a sense that your future is not something you fashion with effort, but something you reclaim from before time. The story you are meant to live is etched into the fabric of creation, waiting for you to step into its unfolding chapters. No longer do you seek permission from others to validate your calling. You recognize that your authority comes from a source beyond any earthly decree. This realization resonates like prophecy, wrapped in ribbons of certainty that rise from the core of your being, urging you to stand tall in your ordained role. Now the energy shifts decisively. What once felt like passive waiting becomes active reclamation. You remember your voice, the one that trembled in hidden journals, the one that coaxed tears from your fiercest skeptic. This is the moment to wield that voice with prophetic clarity. You rediscover the passion that outshone your fear, the conviction that outpaced your doubts. Like Deborah under the palm of Tabor, Judges 4 verse 5. You stand as both judge and warrior, ready to lead with wisdom born of silence and strength born of solitude. Your spirit emerges, fierce and unbound. Revelation is not a crescendo but an invitation into ever deeper mystery. You have seen the codes and heard the whispers. That is only the beginning. Comment restoration if you felt the power of stillness ignite your inner vision, and share a dream, memory, or challenge that surfaced in your quietest moments. Up next, we will explore what happens after you obey this sacred signal, as the path you once walked in darkness unfolds into radiant clarity. What happens after you obey the signal? In that sacred instant when you choose to stand, you feel the turning of an invisible key within your chest. There is no longer room for hesitation. You stand at a crossroads where one path leads back into the old patterns of doubt, and the other thrusts you forward into your divine purpose. You sense a question rising. Will you walk into the light of your own commissioning, or retreat into the familiar shadows of uncertainty? This is your moment of decision, the point where passivity dissolves and action claims you. The air around you trembles with possibility, and you realize that both heaven and earth are holding their breath, waiting for your step. All the seasons in which you surrendered your time, your voice, and your promise now stand revealed as the forge of your destiny. Every hour you granted to others at the expense of your own calling was not a misstep but a training ground, molding you like a sculptor's chisel shapes marble. It is time to call back those gifts you dispersed, every ounce of energy, every whisper of insight, and reclaim them as sovereign authority over your inner realm. Speak now in ritual words of power. I call back what was given away. In that declaration, you anoint yourself as ruler of your own spirit, preparing to wear your throne like a mantle of purpose. Within you lie treasures they tried to bury, discernment sharper than any blade, sensitivity that reads the hidden currents, memory of ancient covenant, and the strength of one who has walked through fire. These are not mere qualities but divine tools entrusted to you from the beginning. Think of them as keys to sealed doors in the temple of your soul, each unlocking a chamber of revelation. Let the embers of your spiritual signature blaze bright, for what others deemed weakness is your secret armor. You now carry the sacred scrolls of your mission, written in codes of light and carried in the steady beat of your heart. The path ahead is no stranger. It has been unfolding beneath your feet while you hesitated in its shadow. With each intentional step, the mist parts to reveal markers. An open door, a resonant conversation, a gesture that echoes your inner calling. The ground itself seems to pulse with the rhythm of your purpose, guiding your footfall toward the next mission point. You realize that clarity is not found in distant planning but in courageous movement, as though the map is drawn by your own footsteps upon the earth. Each step confirms the way, shining like embers lighting the darkness. Look around and remember, you are not alone in this ascent. Across the globe, other awakened souls are answering their summons, forming soul tribes that hum with shared frequency. In their collective heartbeat lies power greater than any isolation could muster. You no longer need to dim your light to fit a world that has outgrown its old templates. Instead, you are part of a rising order, an alliance of hearts tuned to divine resonance. Together, You carve new spaces for truth to dwell, amplifying one another's voices until the chorus shakes the foundations of the ordinary. Now take your energy in hand as a sovereign steward, setting clear boundaries that guard your flame. This is not a call to pride, but a ceremony of devotion to your highest self. Choose what serves the mission and release what detracts from it. In this sacred act of discernment, you honor the holy deposit within you and align every choice with your destiny. Picture yourself as a steward of light, entrusted with the care of a rare and powerful flame. Every yes and every no becomes a consecration of purpose. Hear this charge with every fiber of your being. Every trial you endured, every fear you faced, has led you to this exact threshold. You stand now as the culmination of every whispered dream and every silent prayer. The veil lifts completely, revealing the portal you were born to walk through. You are ready. Doubt falls away before the fierce truth of your own essence. This is your moment to step into who you have always been: anointed, ordained, unstoppable. Revelation ignites action. Insight demands embodiment. Comment embody if you are ready to live this calling, and share a reflection, dream, or challenge that has shaped your readiness. The harvest awaits, and your first step will send ripples through the fabric of destiny. Up next, we will explore how this awakening reshapes your daily rituals, guiding you to weave the sacred into every breath. You are not here to fight exhaustion, but to follow its lead. Each drop of fatigue is a divine breadcrumb guiding you back to alignment. Embrace the collapse, honor the pause, and trust the process. In your obedience lies your power. You were never meant to push through every barrier alone. You were summoned to realign with forces far greater than yourself. This is your call to step into full activation, free from the noise of doubt. A distant echo stirred in the depths of your consciousness. A voice barely louder than a breeze, asking, "What if your weariness is not a burden but a guide?" In that question lies the seed of a radical shift. Your exhaustion, once painted as failure, is revealed as a compass pointing toward your true north. Each weary sigh you've uttered has mapped the contours of your soul's terrain, illuminating hidden valleys where renewal waits. This is not a call to endurance, but a summons to surrender into divine synchronization, where every pause is pregnant with possibility and every breath a sacrament of alignment. Between the sharp clarity of mornings after sleepless nights, a vision forms. Yourself, standing on a bridge woven from threads of starlight and shadow. Beneath you flows the river of spirit, carrying every fragment of doubt, every ember of hope. That bridge is built from your obedience to rest, your willingness to heed the soul's whispers. Each moment of pause has laid another plank, creating a pathway that spans the chasm between who you were and who you are destined to become. By following the breadcrumb trail of fatigue, you traverse terrain no map could chart, guided by a wisdom older than time. A sudden memory flickers, of finding solace beneath an ancient oak whose rustling leaves spoke in tongues you couldn't yet translate. That tree was more than a refuge. It was a living testament to resilience, teaching that deep roots weather every storm. Today, your collapse is that same lesson writ large. You, like the oak, stand poised to grow stronger after each still season. The sacred rhythm of rest and renewal courses through your being, reminding you that growth often sprouts in silence, where the world's demands cannot suffocate the tender shoot of your purpose. You may recall nights when tears fell unbidden, as if the interior vault of your heart wept for the life you were meant to live. Those tears were not signs of weakness, but portals to your truest longing. They dissolved the hardened shell of obligation and mustered the courage to seek what sets your spirit ablaze. In that alchemy, sorrow transformed into clarity, revealing that your deepest wounds hold the key to your greatest breakthroughs. This sacred transmutation occurs when you stop resisting the call, stepping into a divine process that honors both your fragility and your fierce resolve. In the hush of dawn, when the horizon blurs between shadow and light, you stand on the threshold of a new beginning. That liminal space is your promised land, a realm where the old definitions of success and struggle dissolve. Here, your strength is measured not by conquest but by devotion to the voice within. It is in this space that you realize the era of pushing through has ended. The era of dancing with divine timing has begun. Each deliberate pause launches you forward with more momentum than any forced sprint ever could. Imagine a tapestry vast as the night sky, each star a story of a soul who answered the call to pause, to listen, to trust. Your thread weaves among theirs, joining a pattern of awakening that spans generations. When you honor your collapse, you become a living stitch in that grand design, binding past and future into a continuum of purpose. This collective resonance amplifies your individual journey, proving that realignment is not a solitary act, but a communal symphony conducted by forces unseen. A voice within you rises now, clear, unwavering, and charged with authority. It declares that from this moment, you steward your energy with intention. You choose rest as ritual, not retreat. Silence as strategy, not surrender. You align every heartbeat with the cadence of your destiny, refusing to dilute your light to comfort the unawakened. This is your covenant, to wield your fatigue not as chain but as chalice, pouring its sacred contents into the vessel of your becoming. And so, beloved chosen one, let the final affirmation reverberate through your spirit. You are not here to battle exhaustion but to embrace its wisdom, to follow each breadcrumb back to your true alignment. Comment aligned if you feel this sacred invitation stirring in your soul, and share a moment when your pause revealed a new horizon. Up next, we will step into the living rhythm of daily devotion, where every action becomes a prayer and every breath a bridge to your divine mission. A hush settles as you step into the circle of stillness, where each footfall echoes like a drumbeat in a grand ceremony. Here, you honor the pause that spoke your truth when all else fell away. You learn that silence can be a sanctuary, a place where thoughts gather clarity and purpose takes shape. In this quiet, you touch the deep current that runs beneath the surface of every life, binding your heartbeat to the song of the universe. Notice how each breath becomes a bridge between what was and what will be. As you inhale, you draw in the wisdom of every moment you have paused. As you exhale, you release the tension that once held you back. This rhythm, simple and constant, teaches you to move with grace. You find that rest is not idle. It is the soft loom on which your destiny is woven. In this field of awareness, you become both artisan and observer. You watch your energy shift like light through stained glass, casting colors where there was only gray. You learn to steward your strength, pouring it into moments that matter most. No longer do you spread yourself thin to please others. Instead, you hold your power close, a chalice filled with the essence of your being. Your covenant with rest is a promise to honor the ebb as much as the flow. You treat each moment of quiet as a ritual, not a fallback. You let your fatigue speak, offering its lessons in the language of longing. From these teachings, you build a shelter inside yourself, a sanctuary that never dims, even when the world grows loud. See the communion of your past pauses, a board of stepping stones across a river of doubt. Each time you stopped, you left behind a stone for others to find. Now, wanderers come to cross, guided by the path you forged. In this shared pilgrimage, your rest becomes their map, and your return to motion becomes their sign of hope. As you embrace the narrative of your own rest, you join a chorus of kindred spirits. Their stories rise around you like a symphony, each voice adding its own note of courage. Together, you form a continuum of purpose that stretches beyond time. This is the living tapestry of souls awakened to the power of gentle strength. If this invitation stirs your spirit, comment aligned and share when a moment of rest revealed a new truth for you. Let us weave these stories into our collective design and step forward into the daily devotion that awaits. A devotion where every breath becomes a prayer and every heartbeat a drum of destiny. You have seen that your fatigue is a divine reset, your collapse a sacred pause, and your rest a holy alignment. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every super thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Remember this, your rest is your rise.